Hi everyone. So I took the longest break from Instagram and I feel so fresh, honestly. Like Instagram can really drain you and make you feel like you don't have it all together and you should be at a certain point in your life and you're always comparing yourself to other people and what they have. So it can be really toxic sometimes. So I had to just take a step back and just focus on myself when it was just getting a bit of out of hand for me. So I took this break, and the other day I was actually meeting with my friend, and she told me, Zainab, you're a really good person, and none of that reflects on your social media, and everyone has like a different image of you just simply because you don't post anything, you don't talk about your life, nobody sees this side of you. So I thought it was actually interesting point she made because Anna, I don't really focus on what people say. I'm kind of just in my own little bubble sometimes. I always had this attitude towards life where it's just like, take me as I am who I am, I don't need to explain anything to anyone. And over time, I realized that's a really bad approach because, as a public figure, if you want to be anything to do with the public, you're going to be judged. So people are going to think you don't care, or you're stuck up, or you're not approachable. So, and I do care. I do care about people. I care what people think. I actually care whether I'm liked or not liked. And this whole idea of like you shouldn't care what other people think, no, it doesn't exist. We do care what other people think. Okay? We are on this earth to be loved by one another. We are not supposed to be isolated on our own. So my old approach of, you know, I just don't care, it was, even though I had no bad intention, it came off in this bad way. So I really am a very light-hearted person. I make all my family laugh. I'm always laughing, trying to make a situation lighter than it is. And I don't take anything too seriously. This is just my personality. And I guess you can say like the reason I'm so funny all the time or like laughing and joking around with my close ones is because people say, psychology says that you come from a dark past or like some trauma, unresolved trauma. It's always coming out in jokes and stuff like that. Now that I touched a little bit on trauma, I do actually come from a broken home, and as an Arab, you don't really talk about what goes on in your home. Your home is like a sacred place, and you don't talk about family, you don't talk about what's happened to you, or you don't, it's like, so um, I never really openly discussed that with anyone. I don't even know anyone who discusses their childhood, like trauma or things that have happened in the past in their family. It's just such a sacred thing. And I think if any of my family is watching this, they're probably gonna kill me because I even touched upon it. So there's two things that have happened to me in my childhood trauma. And childhood trauma, by the way, doesn't have to be, like you have an abusive parent or, like something really terrible happened to you. It could just be something that happened in your childhood that has left a scar on you and you have unresolved like issues, and it reflects on everything you are doing as an adult. I think that's the best way to put it. um so I have these two things that like now I look back, I reflect, I'm like, oh, it's because of that. And I always am self-aware of what's happening around me. So I was moving around so much. It was from moving from place to place. And I was living in London, born in London, then I moved to New York, and then from New York I went to Cairo. So it was just too much. And even in London and in New York, we moved Casamarra. So from moving all of these times, it was just like new schools, new friends. Like I was just confused. I was upset, always having to change friends. It was difficult. It's a difficult life. And if parents are listening to me now, I think that's like the number two things that you should give your children is stability and for them to see love in the home. And that's the second thing that I have to come to, which is love. I never saw love in my home. It was very chaotic, a lot of arguments, a lot of fights. And the number one thing I learned in psychology is best thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother. That's it. It costs nothing, and it's just top tier. If this happens and there's love and respect in the home, wow, what a completely different outcome for the child. But you cannot blame your parents at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, your parents, this is the first time they're living too. They don't have a manual on how to do it, although there are books now on how to raise your children. But the old school parents, they don't know this whole love and they just kind of have this mentality. The father goes out and he's the provider, and the mother stays at home and she's like the one that's cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids. So it's an old mentality that maybe some of us are traditionalists and we're going to take on to our new homes. And there's a new way of raising children, which is based off of studies and based off of experiences. So we cannot blame. I did for a very long time blame my father for a lot of stuff, and it showed in the way I spoke to him, my anger. It was just very difficult for me. And for me, moving from New York to I didn't go to Cairo, I went to Alexandria, which is even smaller than Cairo, as you guys know. And from moving from there to there, New York to Alexandria, I was so angry. I wanted to stay in New York. I was so fed up of moving so much. But it did turn out to be good for me in a few ways. We can talk about that later. But I really feel like if I had a different home and I witnessed love in my life, I would have had a completely different life. Completely different. I wouldn't have done half of the things I've done. But this is all I can do, is take everything that I've learned and just try to be better, to take better decisions and believe in myself more. Because when you don't witness love and you don't have this, it kind of breaks your self-confidence. And a lot of people are just like, you're so beautiful, like why doesn't this reflect on like how you see yourself? And I'm really like, beauty has nothing to do with self-confidence. Nothing at all. Self-confidence comes from character, from building character over the years. Over years it takes to build confidence. You cannot do it overnight. So I'm really excited to post more videos. I really felt like it was very therapeutic. And I want to talk more about myself for you guys to get to know me. I just started my own business and I just bought my own home. So I'm really excited for my new chapter and to share it with you guys.